Welcome to Reddit Echoes, where confessions don't just make your jaw drop, but also force you to question everything people love: forgiveness and self-worth. Here we don't just tell stories. We let the people who lived them speak. The ones who once loved blindly gave everything for someone they trusted, only to be met with betrayal, silence, or scars that never fully heal. You'll hear about relationships that lasted nearly a decade, expected to end with a ring, but instead shattered with one cold, unforgettable sentence. You'll witness moments that seem random, yet hide tragedies behind closed doors. Because we believe every person has a story worth telling, and when you have the courage to speak it, it deserves to be heard in full. No cuts, no judgment. So put your headphones on, turn off the lights, and get ready to step into a world of real-life stories, ones more haunting than any movie script. Welcome to Reddit Echoes, where the truth doesn't just whisper, it echoes. Story 1. I wasn't wife material, so I became his worst nightmare. I used to believe in love. I used to think that if I tried hard enough, sacrificed enough, and loved deeply enough, the other person would see it and stay. Wrong. So wrong. My name is Cassie, I'm 27. And this is the story of how you can give someone everything and still get tossed out like a used tissue. Nate and I met in high school. We were together for 9 years. And during those 9 years, I wasn't just his girlfriend, I was his ride or die, his emotional crutch through the darkest times. When his parents cut him off for choosing art over law school, guess who picked up the slack? Me. I worked 2 jobs while juggling college so he could focus on his dreams. I'd go to class, come home, change into a uniform, and work till midnight because I believed once he succeeds, we'll both enjoy the fruits of our labor. When his family finally accepted him back and started financially supporting him again, he told me I could quit working. He wanted to take care of me now. I didn't quit, not because I didn't trust him, but because I wanted to hold on to a piece of my independence. Things were good until they weren't. Last December, he suddenly became the perfect boyfriend. Gifts, handwritten notes, spontaneous weekend getaways. I naively thought he was planning to propose. He even made my favorite dish on January 2nd, what I assumed was going to be the day. And then he dumped me. I remember his exact words: "You're an amazing girlfriend, but you'll always only be a girlfriend. You're not wife material." He told me I played my role well, but now he needed someone on his level. Bitter no. That wasn't bitterness. That was sheer humiliation. He gave me 30 days to move out of the apartment I had paid rent on for over half the time we lived there. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I ordered cardboard boxes online and went to sleep. 4 days later, I moved into my cousin's place without another word. I blocked him on everything, changed my number, changed my email. I disappeared from his world like I never existed. But his words, they clawed at me every night. I felt worthless. I used to be his everything, and now I was just not enough. Thankfully, my cousin and some amazing people in my life didn't let me spiral. They staged what they jokingly called an emotional intervention and pulled me back from the edge. I started healing. Then one day, flowers showed up at work. The card read, "Happy belated birthday, Cassie. I can't stop thinking about you. About everything I never got to say. Can we meet? I got chills." He even showed up at my parents' house only to be thrown out by my dad. But the truth, I was curious. Yeah, I know how stupid that sounds. But after 9 years and a stab straight to the heart, I just wanted to know, what does he want now? A few days later, he ambushed me at our usual coffee shop. I almost walked out, but thought, it's public. Safe. I'll hear him out. I sat down. "What do you want?" He said he regretted everything. Then came the excuses: bad influence from friends, work, stress, depression, his parents. I cut him off, dropped the act. I know everything. He froze. What did I know? That he'd been infatuated with a gorgeous coworker for 2 years. that she was too high class to be the other woman, so he had to break up with me to chase her. And the best part, she shut him down. Called him trash. Told him if he ever spoke to her again, she'd report him to HR. I asked, "What's that got to do with me? We're done. I've moved on." He begged. He cried. He swore we belonged together, promised to marry me by the end of the year. I just smiled bitterly. I'm nobody's second choice. I'm not the fallback plan after your first one blows up in your face. He kept pleading, reminiscing about our memories, suggesting therapy. I didn't even listen. I texted my cousin to come pick me up. While waiting, I chatted with the baristas just to drown out the melodramatic sob story. When my cousin arrived, she chewed him out so hard the barista had to stifle a laugh. She even threatened to bring her brother if he didn't back off. He finally got the message. I didn't look back. Now I have a new job, new friends, and a new life without Nate. He's become the most expensive lesson I've ever learned. My only regret, not dumping him before he got the chance to dump me. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. Sometimes we don't realize our worth until someone tries to bury it. But like Cassie, we have the right to rise, to stand tall, and to walk away from those who can't see our value. Never be someone's second choice. Never forget you deserve a love that doesn't need to be begged for. Like, comment, and subscribe to Reddit Echoes for more raw, tear-stained, and occasionally revenge-sweetened stories from the front lines of real relationships. Story 2. Accident or assault? What happened in that bed? Cost me everything. I don't really know where to begin. Maybe with the part where I thought I was in love with someone gentle and safe. Or maybe with that night, the night when I ended up in a hospital bed hurting and unsure whether I should blame him or myself. My name is Emily. I'm 30 years old. And this is the story I never thought I'd share publicly until I realized that if I don't speak up, more people might end up like me. Or worse. I met Alex through a board game group. He was the gentle but strong type, you know the one. Eyes that always looked like they were listening, always asking how you're doing, always polite, always soft-spoken. We dated for 6 months before moving in together. Everything felt normal until sex started becoming a problem. I'm not a prude, but I need to feel safe. And Alex started crossing that line. At first, I chalked it up to the heat of the moment. But after several times of feeling pain and hearing, "Oops, sorry, just an accident," I started to wonder. So I set my boundaries. Clearly. Explicitly. No rough grabbing, no painful moves, no games that made me feel like an object. He nodded. Sweetly. Even apologized. Then came the night it all broke. It was a Saturday. I'd just finished a brutal work week. I was planning to crash early, but Alex was in the mood. I told him I was tired. He started off gently asking, teasing, then tugging. I sighed and said yes, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't want to fight. Biggest mistake of my life. Within minutes, he'd crossed every line. I screamed. He kept going. I pushed. He held me down. I scratched his arm, kicked his shin, and finally screamed at the top of my lungs, "Stop, stop!" That was when he stopped. I was naked, bruised, curled up, trembling. He just sat there in silence. A few minutes later, I limped to the bathroom and saw blood. I don't even remember getting dressed. I just remember stumbling out of the apartment, calling a cab, and heading straight to the ER. I told the nurse I'd fallen in the shower. She looked skeptical. The doctor noted that my injuries did not match the explanation. I went back home the next morning. Alex was making breakfast, smiling like nothing happened. I asked, "Do you think what happened last night was normal?" He paused just a second and then said, "I thought you liked it. You didn't say anything." I snapped. I screamed, "Stop." I cried. I bled. "And you think that means I consented?" He froze. No apology. Just confusion. "I didn't think you were serious. You've said stop before, but then kept going." It's hard to tell. I walked out with nothing but a backpack. Crashed at a friend's place, fell apart. I didn't even know if what happened was technically assault. I didn't want to believe the man I loved could do that to me. I didn't call the police, but I documented everything. Text messages, photos of the bruises, audio recordings of our conversations afterward. 2 weeks later, Alex emailed me, "I'm going to therapy. I think I have issues, but you made me feel betrayed. I didn't mean to hurt you. You know that." I never replied. Months later, I told my sister. She took me to a lawyer. The lawyer said I had a case, but warned me about the trauma of a trial, the media, the doubters. Because we were in a relationship, it would be hard. I didn't sue, but I didn't stay silent either. I joined an anonymous support group for people who'd experienced partner assault. The support I got, overwhelming. Some told me to press charges. Some just said, "That happened to me too." And I didn't say anything either. Something in me broke. And then something in me healed because of those strangers. A year later, I got a call. Alex had been reported by his new girlfriend. Not only did she come forward, she found me. She asked for advice. I gave her everything, the voice recordings, photos of my injuries, all the proof I'd kept to remind myself I wasn't crazy. She filed a lawsuit. This time she won. Alex was convicted of non-consensual sexual activity resulting in injury. Fined heavily, fired from his job, put on the regional sex offender registry. Was I happy? No. Was I vindicated? Not exactly, but I felt justice. I felt peace. Today I live alone in a small, safe apartment. I'm still in therapy. I still have nights where I can't sleep, but I no longer carry shame. I once loved Alex. I once blamed myself. Now I know it's never the fault of the person who says no. This story is a painful reminder love is never an excuse to hurt someone, and silence doesn't mean forgiveness. It often just means survival. If you or someone you know is going through something similar, please remember you are not alone. Share your thoughts in the comments or simply leave a word of support for those still healing from their own pain. Like the video, subscribe to Reddit Echoes, because every story told brings us one step closer to justice. The story you just heard might have left you angry, heartbroken, or simply speechless, and that's exactly why we tell these stories, to remind you that you are not alone. In a world filled with hollow promises, empty apologies, and "I'll change" that never truly happens, standing up and saying "I deserve better" is nothing short of bravery. If you've ever loved someone so much that you lost yourself in the process, if you've ever stayed silent because you thought you were too weak to leave, then we hope today's story serves as a gentle but powerful reminder. You are strong enough. You deserve to feel safe. You deserve to feel seen. And if you've ever wondered, does anyone out there really understand what I'm going through? The answer is yes. Right here, in this community. We hear you, we believe you, and we're standing with you. Drop a comment not just to share your thoughts, but maybe to offer strength to someone who desperately needs it. Hit like if you believe this story needs to be heard far and wide. And don't forget to subscribe to Reddit Echoes, where the most painful truths are finally spoken, and sometimes they bring hope too. Thank you for staying with us till the end. We'll see you in the next video, where the stories continue, no matter how hard they are to tell.